Well, the Lord's been talking to me, and He says, just tell people what you think. And He's asked me many times, what do you think? And I say, what do I think about what? What do you mean, what do I think? What do I think? Are you kidding me? Oh, man. So, what do I think? What do I think about what's going on in life? What's going on in this world? You know? There's a lot to say. A lot to say. I would say that what we're seeing right now is multiple things going on at the same time. Multiple things. This whole thing with down south that's going on right now, I think it's all planned. A lot of stuff I think comes from reading the Bible for so long. Reading it like 10 minutes a day for decades. Wondering why I'm reading the Bible, why I ever made a vow to read the Bible. Did you ever do that? That's like, God, why did you have me do this? But I see similarities what's going on right now with what's going on with leaders of the world. It's kind of interesting. No matter how much you point out the hypocrisy of the leaders of this world, they're not going to change because they've got a plan, and they're implementing their plan to achieve what they want. And no matter how much of a hypocrite they are, they're not going to change. I don't know where to look here. And it's just really interesting. How did this all start? To me, it looks like the leaders of the world have gathered together to change the world without letting anybody know. They're not looking for a populist vote. No. They're looking to remove people to do things behind the backs of the populace. I mean, just opening up the border here, well, the border is also opened up in other places of the world. Looks like a strategy to overrun the country by leaders who have agreed to do the same thing. Doesn't it look that way to you? And why? Why are they doing this? It's a really good question. I think it all started after World War II. I think is what really started this whole thing. And I was once talking to a gentleman. His grandfather had been in Germany as a German officer of some type. And they were out fishing, and he was talking to his grandson, and he said, "Son, don't watch TV. TV was invented by the CIA, and it's one regime to another regime. Don't even bother." Conversation went something like that. And so he's telling me this. He's Jewish. So his grandfather, I believe, was Jewish, who was also in Hitler's propaganda machine someplace. And so is that true? I don't know if you know about the end of World War II, but a lot of Nazis came over to this country, were given new identities, and helped build NASA and other things. And we were told that they were the good Nazis. You remember the scripture that Jesus said, a little leaveneth the whole lump? And maybe they came over here and they contributed to our advancement in rocketry and space exploration to the moon. But did they have other motives? Were they behind the scenes creating a new regime that was not for one nation, but it was a new regime for the entire world, and implementing a strategy or strategies and plans to bring the whole world into a group consciousness, a group way of thinking, implemented over many decades of change. And I don't know, it's like different decades were different. If you look at sitcoms, different decades, like there was a decade to me where it was all about the attack of the Father, you know, that he is meaningless, nothing, he contributes nothing, and he's an idiot. It was an attack against the family. And then the next decade, it was something else. It just seemed like that what was going on. And it seems as though right now that major news outlets are in agreement with whatever the plan is to lower population, to bring down, it appears, Western civilization. You're overrunning the United States of America with illegals. You're overrunning other parts of the world with Muslims who want to institute Sharia law. It just seems like this is all planned. This is not organic. And it just seems like the more you're able to destroy the people that you're put over to help, the more you will be accepted by the New World Order. That's what it seems to be. So that's what I think. You know, if you look at the Bible, you see similarities, you see patterns. Jesus pointed out the hypocrisy of the leaders who are making decisions then, and they killed them. And it's almost, they didn't change. And it's like, like some news programs point out the hypocrisy of other news programs or of particular political parties and political parties, what they're doing. They don't care. You can point out as much hypocrisy as you want because they're on a plan, and their plan is lie and lie and lie. And what they are doing is they are trolling for useful idiots who will believe their lies, that they can motivate, maybe even pay, to do what they want to obtain their objective, which is not law and order, but it appears to be a new world order pushing aside the current structure and bringing it down without letting people know what in the world's going on. And people are scratching their head going, why are they doing this? And it's often pointed to as incompetence rather than planned destruction of society. And the better you are at destroying those who you are put over, the more accepted you are in this new world order, which seems to be promoting the depopulation of the planet and are willing to go to any lengths to make it happen. So what do you think? That to me is what I think is going on, and I see similarities in the scriptures and how Jesus was treated, the hypocrisy, and these people are just, you know, it's kind of funny. To me, it seems as though they're on this grand mission of saving humanity. And in order to save humanity, we must get rid of a lot of humans, you know, and change the whole world order. And who do we want in charge? Well, China, of course. Doesn't it talk about Revelation Dragon? You know, so how many political leaders have sold our secrets to China? You know, how many? And why China? Because China is perhaps the most godless nation on the planet. And all of these regime changes around the world have not been to promote democracy. That's the lie. The real reason is to destroy the religious structure in every country where they try and promote democracy. Well, that's what I think is going on. What do you think is going on? Anyways, this is Paul Sothery signing off for today. Bye-bye.